I'm doing much better than I was yesterday, I'll tell you that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing
Sorry
much
to
better.
hear about doggy.
Yeah, it was surprising. It was not something I was prepared for. It was one of those things where I went in that day to the vet, and that day is when we had to put her down.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I could have waited, but she would have been in more and more pain. So it wasn't, I don't want that. I don't want her to suffer any more than she already has. But that's a whole nother story. My relationship with Gianna, which is the dog that passed away, it's really, really special. But I don't need to go into that right now.
Okay.
Because it'll take the whole hour. I mean, she's amazing. She was an amazing dog. I think all dogs are, but she was special, at least to me. Special to me. So, how are you doing
I've been struggling some.
in relation to what?
I have been. I actually weighed myself, and hadn't done that in a long time. It started with Super Bowl food.
Hold on, it actually probably started before that.
Okay.
Why would I even go there? I want to see if you can pinpoint it.
Because of the anticipation of it.
Of the Super Bowl?
Of past, like eating in the past.
Got it. Why would it be something you would be worried about?
Because in the past, Super Bowl was always one of my days where there was like, this is going to be my last binge before I go on a diet.
Right. Yep. So that was like. So what? Why would that exact? Well, so the point here would be like. So then why would it?
It was familiar. Like there was the same food, same setting.
But and something else had to have been the same for it to have that feast before famine. Oh my God, don't be disappointed. Please don't. I know you are, but don't, because this to me is like, this is part of the process. You need to have these moments for you to fully grasp it.
Well, I was, caring about that I was eating.
Which is because, why would you care?
Because I knew it would cause me, I would gain a couple pounds.
Yeah, so here's what, so we can look at that and go, well, shouldn't I have some type of boundary, right? Should we just go into and just eat and not care, right? That's what a lot of people who aren't unaware would think. But the problem is, you probably were dealing with something underneath it all and wanted to overeat. So there might have been a victim position that you might have taken. There might have been a stress or a poor me situation in that. The other thing is, for you to have that, I shouldn't eat this or I shouldn't eat too much, you have to believe that you need to lose weight. So that at some point that came in ahead of time. Last time we talked, I thought you had been weighed. You went to the doctor. Remember, she was like, you didn't gain any weight. I'm used to seeing people gain weight over the course of the new year, Christmas.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I think you might want to go back and listen to that session, because I think what you'll do if you listen to that session is you're going to hear the precursors of predictability, what would happen at this point. Chances are you got excited about that. That would be my bet. And I remember actually finishing that.
I wasn't, but I was really.
There you go. Yeah. Like, and I actually, the end of, I think, that session, I recall, and I could be wrong because I've had so many goddamn sessions with other people, but I'm very clear. I had said to you that where things could go wrong from here is if you if it gratifies you, if you do lose weight, if there's gratifying in it, that's where people get sucked back in, is the hope or the idea. I could be thinner. I didn't gain weight, or maybe I could eat more and still not gain weight. You're still but hyper focused on it. Do you see that at all?
That's gotta be it. I do now. Yeah, and many times after Super Bowl would start the county's weight loss competition between departments in the county.
Yep.
And every year I've joined, and this year I did not.
So did it feel like you were being left behind?
Well, I think now that we're talking, I think I was maybe feeling some anxiety about I must have been feeling like, well, everybody's going to lose weight, but I'm not.
Yeah, that's what I meant by being left behind.
Yeah.
You see that?
Oh, it's not good. Yeah.
Well, no, it is. Be indifferent about it. Just give yourself some grace, honey. Give yourself some room to really look at, I didn't have that. I haven't had that experience until now. A lot of this work, we could get you to a certain point, and then when people go, oh my God, I'm fixed, but they still don't know what they don't know yet. It doesn't even matter if I say, let me go into the future and see if I can prepare you for these moments. When you start to lose weight, you're going to glom onto that. When you think you have the potential of losing weight and you have hope for losing weight, imagine everybody around you on these diets losing weight, the illusion that they're going to hit the mirage, but you're not. I mean, I can say that all I want, and you can go, yeah, but until you have that experience where you're feeling left behind, like they are going to hit the Mecca, the gold, they're going to hit the mother lode of gold thinness, and you're not. So that, again, what that tells me is you still believe that if you were thinner, you'd be happier.
That's a bummer.
Don't be don't be bummed about it. Just be like, if it's there, I want to know.
Right.
That's what I want you to witness, is if this is there, I want to know. I don't want to be blind to it. I don't want to sit there and deny it anymore. I can't afford to deny it. If I deny all this stuff, I'm not actually going into what it is. So if I really want to hold the belief that being thinner is going to make me happier, I'm going to suffer more. So if I feel that way, I want to feel it. I want to know it, and I want it to be known. Because only then can you address the lie in it. It's a lie. It is a complete and total lie. And I want you to go into why. Go into why. Why is it a lie? Meaning, when I'm thinner, I'll be happier.
Oh, gosh. But I thought I'd gotten past that, because we're going to have to dig deep, because I don't...
Well, look at how you responded.
I didn't think I was believing that anymore, right? So...
Well, there must be under a certain condition. So maybe you don't believe it. You don't believe it, but you do believe it under certain conditions. You know what I mean? So it's a conditional thing.
Could it have anything to do with the type of food I was eating?
No.
Because it was an old binge food, and I could just eat it freely without, Super Bowl is an accepted binge. You can just eat without judgment, typically.
Yeah, well, that means that's under the context that you should be losing weight. You should be thinner. So you see what I mean? So no, of course not. Don't waste your time on those thoughts. Those are totally irrelevant. You're like total waste of your thought. Even blame it on the food. The food is irrelevant. Yeah. I mean, this whole conversation, we're 10 minutes in, up to this point, should be very clearly making you aware that the food is irrelevant. Super Bowl was irrelevant. That just so happened to be an environment where you felt like you couldn't control it. You know, where there, and we can look back, and if you're feeling like I'm being left behind, if there is a sense of that, you might be feeling victimized. And you might have thought, you know what, I'm going to go on a diet.
Yeah, I mean, I have felt like that way since then.
Okay.
I've been struggling with it.
There you go. Just go into that thought. Like at that point, I decided, fuck it. You probably went into your poor me victim positionality. For me, I have to be fat. They get to be thin and healthy and happy, and I'm not. I'm done. I'm ready to fix this now. And then what happens?
Oh, it just starts the cycle.
Yep. And you probably didn't even know it. You probably didn't even know you committed into that dieting. Without even, you get sucked in and you're gonna struggle. It's gonna get bad.
Yeah, and I feel like I really need to nip it.
Right.
Now.
Oh, I wish you would have contacted me earlier. Like, Super Bowl? Day after, you know? But, you know, maybe you needed to sit in this and suffer a little bit more.
It's terrible. Yeah.
That's okay. To me, this is like, you needed to suffer a little bit more so you could see the picture. What happens? I really want you to think, is being thinner going to make you happier? I mean, go into your truth. Is there anything in there that truly believes that when you lose weight, you will be happier?
Not if this starts the hell of binging again. Absolutely not.
Okay, so what if everybody else loses weight and you don't?
I would be fine with that. Like, I don't want to be back where I was.
Okay, so how does that, so if you were aware of that, tell me, tell me what would have happened. Would you have felt sorry for yourself? Because everybody else is going, they get to get on that rat wheel and they get to run on it and they feel so good about themselves because they're going to reach thinner happiness and they're going to be so proud of themselves and they're in control. And you're not.
Can we have momentary lapses?
Yes, we do, right? Well, all this means is that you still believe in it. Otherwise, you would have kind of laughed at the whole thing, been like, you guys go get it. You guys get it. You would have just been like applauding everybody else on, you go get your thinness. Work your ass off. And you would have sat back and had yourself another wing. Not in a binge. You would have asked where the blue cheese was for your wing. Where's the blue cheese? I'm not going to participate in that shit because it's a shit show. It's all narcissism anyways. It's all self-righteousness, trying to find some pedestal for them to sit on. You know? I don't want a pedestal. I'd rather be right here. Chasing that pedestal is why I have the consequences I do. You know? Take yourself out. Of course, so that's what I think is, it's not just oh, you relapsed. No, you hadn't fully recovered then. There were still belief patterns in there that existed. You probably just were trying to deny them because it served you to deny them. You've had such an incredible moment, I think, of freedom that, can you see why you would want to deny those feelings? Feelings of thinnerness equates to happiness.
Yeah.
You know, so
maybe I thought everyone getting so excited about
the illusion they're chasing? You mean the mirage?
Yeah.
They get excited about the mirage? It's kind of funny.
Right.
You know, my busiest season is right now. Why do you think?
Because this is the time of year when people diet.
It's March-ish, and or mid-February, it blows up. Why do you think?
Because we realize it's the same shit, different year.
Totally. And everybody's binging right now. And they're miserable. They don't know why. They can't control themselves. They don't know why. They didn't look at January as the problem. All those people that were on their little bandwagon, they'd be calling me in a month. You didn't see that. I mean, this is where you need some clarity around what it's been like for you. It needs to be solidified. I think that's really what needs to happen. And we talked about that last session. We need to solidify this. This needs to become solid. It's just not solid yet. That could be because you still hold on to some hope that mirage does exist. It doesn't exist. It's a mirage. You can get the physicality, but you don't get the freedom. You can be thinner. You and I both know you could. That's not the problem. It's the suffering that it takes. That is the problem. It's almost, it's like for you, it's like traumatic to have to go into dieting. And that's why you go into this feasting ahead of time and beforehand and afterward. You never really get to the dieting, because it's traumatic for you. That's how bad it is. So I want you to really think if it's even possible. Is it even possible?
To have that freedom?
To be thin or thinner, you don't even have to be thin, and have your freedom. Let me rephrase that. To want the thinnerness, to like the thinnerness, and to have freedom.
No, you have to be different.
Yep. So, yeah, and you can see you're not. I'm really not indifferent about it. I'm indifferent about it to a certain point. So this is where I think it's good for you to see, it was relative. So I am indifferent about it, but it's relative to everybody else being not working out or not being thinner or not trying around me. I'm comfortable with my weight when other people are comfortable with theirs. So that might be something for you to consider, is how other people's emphasis on thinnerness impacts your sense of being with your body.
Even if it's people I don't care about.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Even if you loathe them, if they are working on their fitness or they're working on their thinnerness or controlling their body,
Probably worse.
Okay, that means that you believe the illusion exists. Yeah.
Right.
Because you really think they're going to get there. And you're not. I would put money on you felt like a victim because of that. For me. What do you think is going to happen the moment you feel sorry for yourself? Because of your weight.
Binging.
Correct.
Binging and dieting.
Well, the binge comes first. The dieting is focused on in your mind first. So you focus on I want to do that. And then the overeating comes next, and you're doing it to gratify, well, I'm going to do it. And then have you ever even gotten to the diet part? The weird thing is as you're overeating, you're getting bigger, and that puts more pressure on you to restrict. So you'll notice your eating to hunger has gotten very clouded.
Oh, it did.
Yeah. Because you have anxiety around food. Food all of a sudden became the enemy. And your brain completely goes into like static around food. That is an amazing mechanism. Don't judge that. If food is threatening, don't you agree it should kind of be static?
Right.
It's not relaxed. It's concerning. You're like hypersensitive to it. Being able to just kick back and relax and let the body tell you when to stop eating. That can't happen. You got to be aware of how much you're eating.
Right, and it turns back into good, bad.
Totally.
Right.
You got it. Those lines, the black and whiteness of it. That's all survival mode. Again, don't judge any of that. To me, it's like, that is the coolest mechanism. It is so freaking cool. Sucks to be in it. But me on the outside listening to you is like, oh my God, this is amazing. We should be taking data and collecting it for science.
Even though I know that in 6 weeks they're all going to drop out of the weight loss.
You know it. And they're all going to be like, oh, I got a birthday party and, I'll get back on it. And they're going to all be in reality again. Yeah.
Right, but again, I still felt, at least they're trying. Like, I don't know.
You mean they're trying for what? What are they trying for? The mirage. They're chasing the mirage. Now, there is a difference between complete and total paralysis and doing nothing, like not going for walks, not listening to the hunger scale. That's a different side. The apathy side of it, that's another concern. That's not our goal. It's not apathy. Apathy meaning I'm hopeless, don't do shit.
Right, it's just not caring about not caring about yourself, just not caring about your weight.
What it really is treating yourself as if you don't have a problem. You don't have problems. You don't have anything to fix. And allowing the body to manage itself. That doesn't mean you completely stop all yoga, all walking, all the things that you should enjoy with your body. For some clients who abuse those things, I have to eliminate those first with them. You don't have that issue. So it doesn't mean you don't want to go into a fitness program. The difference is you just don't care about the physical outcome of it other than I want to feel physically good in my body. Imagine if you're blind, okay? Imagine if you're blind. And there's an option for you to get on an exercise bike or walk on a treadmill. Would you not do that?
Oh, no, I would. Exercise is beneficial.
Totally. It feels good. It feels good to have a body. It feels good to hear, get more oxygen, and it actually invigorates your endocrine system. It can actually charge it up a little bit, give it a little like zoom, zip. Okay. So should you not be working on that?
Oh, yeah, you should.
Okay. So it's not like you're told you can't do anything. It's just, why are you chasing a mirage that ends in all or nothing? Why do you got to be a part of, they're going to. So that's what I guess what you need to see is what I'm seeing clearly is, oh, yeah, you think the mirage is real. Like a destination. They're going to be thin. And let's just imagine they do. Let's just imagine they don't quit in 6 weeks and they keep on going.
I want to not care that about their weight. Like, I need to work on mine anyway, but I mean.
Well, how do you get to where you don't care about people's weight? How do you get there? To where you're beyond the illusions with them too.
I need to be indifferent and not care, not want to lose weight, not feel like I'm being left out of the group. Especially in the past, I was the captain of the group. This year, for me to not do it was a big deal. Like, people were like, "Oh, you don't want to join with us?" So this was the first year, and I can't even count when I didn't. So this year was different for me because I didn't join in on that.
And aren't you so glad? You get my point. That would be the goal, is to be like, I am so stinking free. I'm so not getting sucked into that bullshit. There must have been something you got out of being the ringleader, though.
Well, yeah.
thought there might have been something you got out of that. Like, I'm special. I'm, I know what I'm talking about. I don't know. You'd have to go in there and be okay with the see, this is, again, you have to let go of what you get out of it. What did you get out of that? Again, what do you think you're going to get out of being thinner? What do you think you're going to get out of? That's what you have to let go of to recover. This is the whole thing, not just parts of it. You have to let go of all of it. You probably didn't know you really got something egoically out of being the ringleader of the diet team. And so everybody was dieting and you were not part of the team. It's kind of like quitting smoking. All your friends get together to chit chat and you're not smoking anymore. A lot of people go back to smoking so they can just go back to be with their friends. They feel left out. I could see how that would be similar.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until now.
Well, and can you participate?
I enjoy being the captain of that. Like,
well, could you do it?
They relied on me. They looked up to me. I had it all organized. Like, and then now it's like, oh, you don't want to join us, and then so am I feeling bad that I'm not being left out of that? I'm telling myself no, but I guess I am.
You do. Well, you might have given you a sense of connection with those people. Why don't you participate this time, but don't do it for weight loss? Why do you got to do it for weight loss? Why can't you just participate and not care about the outcome? Is it all about dieting? What is it?
Well, it's a contest. It's a weight loss contest.
Oh, well, why don't you participate not in the contest, but just like participate in a different way? I don't know. It's like saying you don't have to smoke with your friends. You know what I'm saying? Like you can still be friends. You just don't have to smoke with them. Why don't you go sit outside with them? I know that sounds unrealistic to people that are smokers, but rethink it. How could you participate with it being about your weight?
I don't know if I could relate to those the discussions that they're going to have.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be all about them and their, I don't know that I want to be part of those discussions anymore.
Okay, so how can you?
Right.
How can you? Okay, let me see here. Does this make you feel like these are people that you won't be friends with anymore? Like you've lost connection to these people? They're getting closer relationships because of it?
No, a lot of them I was just sort of a work frenemy anyway.
Oh,
so
okay.
That's why part of it is like I'm so frustrated that I'm caring.
Yeah, but you got something out of it. You got something out of it. You liked being superior. Is that what it is?
I thought that people came to me for guidance.
Yeah, that's superiority. That's the narcissism aspect of it. And I've often tried, in my own mind, I have to really keep myself separate from even what you and I are doing. That I am not superior to you. I am not all-knowing. I'm still trying to figure this shit out myself, right? So you've got to be able to, so you can maybe look at, I got something out of, I'm better than you, I know more than you come to me, I will inspire you. It's like a position above. I'm on the pedestal, I'm at the pulpit. I have power. It's like a sense of specialness.
But it gave me so much pressure that I don't have.
Yeah.
Which I enjoy that I'm not a part of that, that aspect of it.
Yeah.
I enjoy that I'm not having to listen to people and their own struggles. But I didn't realize that a part of me was that, this like whole issue I've had since Super Bowl and probably a few days before Super Bowl because of the anticipation of what was going to occur. I don't want to be a part of that. Like, it disgusts me to think that I'm maybe getting jealous without realizing that's where my anxiety was coming from. Like, I've been trying to figure it out the past 2 weeks.
Well, I'm glad we had this scheduled so that you could process it. Yeah. Well, and if you don't question, like, you have to question what's ahead of it. You know, your first thought was, well, Super Bowl and this food and these are a binge trigger food. And I was like, notice how I was like, let's go forward. Where was it beforehand? Right. No, it had nothing to do with the food and nothing to do with Super Bowl. It has everything to do with, sounds like it had nothing to do with either of those two. It had to do with feeling left behind, the jealousy. That all tells me you think they're going to reach this mirage as if it's a destination and you're being left behind. And you also got something out of being in control.
I did.
Yeah.
And that's been part of the frustration, is it has been nice to not have to deal with the whole contest situation. So I'm very disappointed and embarrassed that this has started again for me.
So I want you to realize that you didn't even know what was going on. It took us talking about it for you to go, oh, you didn't even know it was happening. Is that something to be embarrassed about?
It is not something to be embarrassed about, but I am, because I thought I was doing very well.
You are doing very well. I don't know why that's changed. Sounds like you might be inflating.
I don't know.
You might have inflated in your mind where you were at, meaning you inflated your recovery beyond what it actually is. And I just don't think any of it is. So at this point, where we want to go, where I'm going to try to help you, is to see that you've done the best you can with what you're aware of. And there is no reason for you to inflate yourself above and beyond that. So as things arise, things are going to arise. That doesn't mean that you're not making progress. And the embarrassment would be you thought you were bigger and better than you actually are. Why pretend that being bigger and better is the right thing to do? You are what you are. It's a process of figuring this out. Just because you have a moment where you weren't aware, you still had work to do, doesn't mean that you haven't recovered or aren't in the process of recovery.
Okay.
So the embarrassment comes from taking pride in the recovery, as if there might have been pride attached to what we're doing. And then when reality shows, oh wow, still have these issues, well then you'd feel embarrassment because you sense the pride you had relative to where you're at in reality. And the pride in relation is different than where you're at in reality. You know, there's still work. You know, we don't know until something like this shows up. And then your first instinct wasn't to look at your reality. It was to look at blaming food in your binge, right? So so does that tell you, give yourself some orientation around where you're still at?
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you haven't made massive amounts of progress. Again, compare where you're at right now and even how we had this conversation and how quick. I mean, we're 30 minutes in and you're over it.
Yeah, I have clarity.
Yeah. But then, it's quick. You and I, boom, 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 boom. That's it. Whoosh, over. This is why I'm like, God damn it. I wish you would have called me the day after. We could have resolved this like 2 weeks ago.
I know. I was being, it must have been, prideful and thinking that I could.
Karma's a bitch.
Not knowing better.
Karma's a bitch. Pride is the biggest roadblock. Arrogance and pride, inflating yourself and not being willing to, honestly, and when it comes to working with me, you're going to make the most progress if you're just honest and truthful with yourself. I'm not judging you. I don't have expectations. In fact, I'm never surprised when someone on the other side goes, there's stuff going on. I'm not doing well, Robin. Okay, let's go there. I'm never like, really? Could you imagine if that was my response?
Right.
That was yours, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's, you know what? This is not uncommon. You get freedom and you think, I'm done. And I'm like, no, you're not. There's still some work to do. It takes being present. Present. I have been recovered for 20 years and I am now, and for me, I'm like, unless I'm ready to lose weight again, I'm not recovered unless I'm completely done trying to be thinner. Fixing my body, thinking there's something wrong. If I went back there, I would relapse too. Who wouldn't? Make sense?
Right.
The difference is I would have to die before going back there. I'd have to have brain damage, and you're just not there yet. But you're close. It takes moments like this to really make you go, yeah, I'd rather lose a leg.
Yeah, it's been a rough
2 weeks.
week and a half.
Look at me. I'm over here going, yeah, suffer. Because that's the best teacher. Wouldn't you rather them reach success and have the pearly gates of thinness? Wouldn't you rather just letting them have that? Give it to them. You can have it.
Well, that's why I wasn't joining, because when signups were up, we were in the the midst of our conversations, and I wasn't caring. But then this build up, I guess there was a slow build.
Yeah, because you did care. There was caring there. You just weren't looking at it head on, maybe. And then when they were beginning the whole thing, you were like, oh my God, I don't get to do that.
Right.
They're gonna be happy, and I'm left here in my misery. For me, where's the food?
Mm-hmm.
It's funny when you look back at it. It's like so immature. It is it's a lapse in maturity around like, I have to be here. They're being happy, and I'm here. I'm gonna break my toy.
Right. Okay. So where I feel like this is getting nipped, which is good.
Yeah, I'm good at that part.
I just thought, oh no, I was looking down the rabbit hole and I didn't want to jump into it. Because I know that right now I felt like I didn't have the ability to stop it on my own without talking to you. It was very confusing because I have felt happy and free the past 2 months. And then this came up and it was like a slap in the face. Mm-hmm. And I thought, oh no, like I'm getting the same purge and diet.
The pendulum swing has started to swing a little more intensely. I gotta fix what I just did. Oh my God, now I'm overeating again. Now I gotta fix what I just did. Oh shit, I ruined it.
It was more, I was very aware of it this time though, rather than getting some type of enjoyment that I've had in the past from the binging and the dieting and feeling like, oh, I'm taking care of things. It wasn't the same intensity as it's been. Like I knew that something was not right. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, okay.
So you kind of gave yourself some pause. That's good. That's good. You're just sitting in anxiety, though. I mean, it's better than full-on binging. You haven't full-on binged, have you?
No.
Okay, well, there you go. I mean, talk about recovery, you know? I mean, think about that for a second. You haven't full-on binged. That's huge in and of itself, even though you were totally triggered into it.
do feel some relief right now too.
Good. Well, let's think about it this way. Do you need to fix
Knowing why
anything?
I'm doing it.
Yeah. Well, and what you have to let go. You have to let go of having to be the controller of the weight loss groups, the person that, it's so relieving to know that too. You don't have to be involved, and they can go and chase the mirage, and they can reach it if they want to. They can have it. That's what they need to be happy. That's what they should find. That's what they should do.
Right.
You can support them. You can be like, you guys, I hope you kick ass. Support it. You know, you don't have to wish them failure.
No, and I don't. I mean, I don't. There's no reason for me to hate any of these people.
Right.
I mean, I wish them well. I don't want to be a part of it, and they were very disappointed and confused.
I bet they were, because you were the ringleader.
You have like so many years we've done this, and I didn't make an announcement ahead of time that I wasn't going to do it. I knew that they would come to me and ask if they, and when they asked me about it, I said, no, thank you. And they're like, why don't you want to do it? And I said, no, I just not caring about my weight this year.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it right now. Yeah, and you can just say it's just not good timing for me, You don't even have to tell them why. You can just say it's just not good timing. I got other things going on right now. It's just not as important, but I would love to be your cheerleader. And you do it with compassion, knowing it comes at a cost. They do this every year.
Yeah.
So, again, let go of what you got out of it. Do you really want what you got out of it if it comes with this suffering?
Absolutely not.
I know. Isn't that the truth? No shit. They can have it. I don't want to, So the next thing I'm going to have you really think about is that nothing needs to be fixed. There is not 1 ounce of overeating that your body cannot handle on its own. You are not to fix it. Let the body handle it. It'll resolve itself. So there is no pressure for you other than let go. You just learned a ton. You need to give yourself grace and recognize there might be more things that come up. And as they come up and arise, you are going to be less critical of yourself. And you're going to be more open to, why am I feeling this way? How we're having this conversation would have been awesome while you were feeling sorry for yourself. First go, why are you feeling sorry for yourself? Well, because I'm being left. Oh, I'm feeling jealous of them. And then you would have caught on. So part of the problem is that you were holding yourself to a standard of recovery that you weren't at yet.
Okay.
And you didn't catch it, right? You didn't catch what was going on. So by addressing it in the moment and seeing, why am I being sucked into this? You're more likely to resolve it as it arises, or you're more likely to reach out for help when you're not sure, or you can't get oriented, because it sounds like you became disoriented around it.
I did, and I did my typical, now that we're talking, I'm going to fix it before I talk to Robin.
Oh, yeah.
I have to admit, right?
Okay, well, what is the first thing I told you? You do not have to fix anything. Nothing is broken. Nothing needs to be fixed. Body can handle itself. You have no pressure at this point, other than solidify their feelings of, I'm okay with my body as it is. It doesn't need to be fixed. People can go on and fix their body. That's fine. If they think it's worth it, they should do it. You have to really think about it in yourself. Is that worth it?
Oh, it's absolutely not.
Well, you have to feel that. You have to really feel that out, and then be relieved that you don't have the same crazy train. You just saved yourself by not, participating. You did participate, unfortunately, but you saved yourself a lot of suffering if you don't participate. Right?
Right. And that's where a lot of the anxiety came also the past 10 days or so is because I wasn't participating, but I was having the same anxiety issues about the binging and purging, but I wasn't a part of doing it, but I was doing it to myself, even though I didn't want to be a part of that. Like, I didn't want it. It's the same reason I told them no, but then I felt like that had the opposite effect. Just, okay. I feel so relieved now, though.
Okay, good.
I just took a deep breath.
Oh, good. I've done my job. Yeah, you need to give yourself, first of all, you need to give yourself a break. You're doing the best you can with what you're aware of, and there's a moment like this makes you very aware. You have to stay present with your recovery. You know, as people start losing weight, and one of those girls, what are you going to do when one of those girls becomes the new ringleader and she's successful and she's wearing her new Fitbit and she's doing all this stuff and she's thin and she won the competition and she's going to do a fitness thing this summer, and don't you want to say, bravo, good for you? See how that response feels?
I mean, I would like to be able to be other people's cheerleader if they need it.
Totally. And you just let it be theirs. It's not yours. You don't have to be participating in it. You've got your own work that needs to be done. There's no, you know.
I know that comes with a price.
For you. And you're the only one that can support yourself when it comes to this. And that is aware of that for you. You know, it's just not worth it. That doesn't mean you can't let other people make that effort. Some people aren't as extreme. They don't have trauma in their past. They don't have the same, they're more lenient. To them, it's just like, I'm going to spend a month doing I'm going to add sit-ups and push-ups. Good. What can that do? How can that hurt you? You know? But in your case, trying to be thinner has been very, very, very traumatic. Super traumatic, and is probably...
For them, it can just be a temporary thing.
Yeah.
An experience, but for me, it's just...
You have PTSD involved?
I see.
Okay.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so you can, that's why it's like, why project your PTSD on all these people? Of course, some of them may have really low self-esteem. This might be their way of trying to feel better about themselves. There's some other people, it's just like, oh, it's just keeping me active. You know what? To support them all. In the end, that's why I was like, participate with them. But don't make it about weight loss? Well, if the whole thing's about weight loss, then find something else for you to do that's not about weight loss. Join a book club. You know, do something that, and that's the thing, is oftentimes these programs are really just about self-care. I hate that it's always linked to weight loss, but because that's just such a, it's like, to me that is just it's misguided. But I get the idea. I mean, I took classes on health promotions. I took a master's course on health promotions and what that is, and you know, there's nothing wrong with wanting to have some self-care, but it doesn't need to be backed by, I have to prove myself. I want to control people. I want to, you know, it can just be as simple as what we're doing. You and I are working together. This is health promotion. Me saying you can go work on your fitness, just don't make it about your self-esteem. Your self-esteem should be intact. And, you know, working on fitness should be about enjoying your body as it is and what it can be. You don't feel bad about your body and you're trying to make it better. You know what I mean? I think your wisdom is there. You get that. You really do get that. What I think maybe you were blind to is how you probably didn't realize you really got that like the narcissistic gratification of being the ringleader of it.
Yeah, I guess I did, because usually I'm just so kind of at work somebody who blends in a lot. And I liked the fact that people were looking up to me. and they had these expectations of me, and it was.
Well, and you see now that came to your detriment.
Everything, and then they came to me this year, and I said no, and then people were disappointed, and they moved on, and then I guess I didn't realize how much
you got out of it.
People liking me for that. I think that was part of it too. Was we were friends, and people liked me for that time period, for that experience of the contest. I mean, not that we hate each other in the meantime. But it was, an annual thing we did, and I didn't want, knowing that I probably wasn't going to lose weight anyway. I did like the idea that people were looking up to me.
There you go. You have to surrender that and be like, I don't necessarily want people looking up to me that way. Did they really know what that actually did to you in terms of the pressure you put on yourself to perform, and how did that impact your binge eating disorder?
Yeah.
Made it really big. So you can look at that and go, I would rather be someone in the crowd going, you go everybody, rather than having to be at the head and I'm going to control everything. You don't want it. You surrender that. You let that go, knowing that you also let go of all the baggage that went with it. Talk about, thank God I don't have to do that anymore. You just needed to process through this.
That's true.
You needed to process through it. Because I think at this point, is it clear to you right now?
Yeah, it's clear that I've not completely gone down that rabbit hole, but I feel like I'm not looking at it anymore, because I'm realizing that I was starting to put emphasis on liking the fact that I was going to lose weight. Because you mentioned the doctor's appointment, and I didn't realize that at the time that affected me, and that must have.
Yep, and I see it a lot. That's why I mentioned it. I mentioned in our last session, you just probably weren't conscious around that until like this. And you can go back and go, oh, I did get gratification out of that. It's not necessarily conscious. So moving forward, I want you to make sure you deflate what you think your recovery is to where it actually is. And be okay with that. Things are going to arise. There might be more as they arise. You're going to go, oh, I didn't even think that would be something I'd have to give up by not being thinner. I have to give up my ringleader for this process. There's going to be stuff come up this summer that you're like, oh, I have to give up that for me to, I know, you might not be aware of it until it shows up and you're like, oh, I remember wanting to be thin for this event every year.
Right.
Oh, and now I'm not going to be thin for that event, even though you were never thin for that event anyways. The illusion of being, thin for a wedding or for an event or for your birthday or for a cruise, you have to go into, I know, I'm going to be like this forever. And the foreverness and the permanence of it.
Yeah, it's interesting you mention that too, because Valentine's Day is my half birthday. So every year I think, my birthday's in 6 months.
I got 6 months to lose weight.
Okay.
You see what you're free from? I mean, but sometimes you have to go and experience a moment where you used to have that excitement for weight loss and you go, oh yeah, no, I'd rather not.
Yeah.
I don't have to. How does that feel? Relieving. Awesome. Because now you're not going to have food problems.
Right. It's completely relieving.
Totally. It's like, I don't even have to. Really? I don't? Nope, you don't. You're not a slave to this anymore. But at sometimes you're going to have to go into, you got more out of it than that. And this was one of those cases. You got more out of it than just weight loss. You got that controllingness. Superiority, it's that narcissism, it's that weird way of finding a sense that we matter and we are special and people like us. I'd rather be a blend in the background and be a bystander that no one recognizes than to have to suffer just to be, I'm special, look at me, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You're kicking butt. You're doing great. In my book, you're like, you are in the process. This is the process.
Because I also felt that and it's amazing how, like, 10 days you can lose your spark when you start suffering through this again. Then I thought, what happened to that twinkle I had? Like, I could feel that it was gone. I felt like that same, not to the depths of the past, but I could feel like the same cloud coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, it's amazing. You don't know what's happening until it's gone, right? You're like, oh, why am I here? Why am I? That's survival mode in your brain. That's what those are symptoms. It sucks. They suck. They really do suck. I'm not gonna lie. As you know, those symptoms physically suck. How they fit physically, how you feel, not just emotionally, and how the cloudedness and the anxiety that you're experiencing sucks, but it physically, your body, your inflammation probably went up. You know, blood pressure probably went up. You know, all those symptoms start going back up. So good news is you're learning how to process through it too. So now we have something came up. You sat with it for a couple weeks. You didn't do anything massive. You didn't go back into binge eating, which would have been the easy thing, to be honest with you, but you didn't. So that's good. That's huge progress in and of itself. And now we're just going into it and going, let's show you how to, like, ding, 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 and you work through it and it's over. Next time, you're going to want to stay present in what's happening. You want to be aware of it as it's occurring. You just weren't aware of it as it occurred. So that's what this experience brings you, is like, okay, now I know what that feels like. I am going to be on alert for it. So as I start to feel insecure with my body, I will tend to it in that moment.
Yeah. Okay.
Kicking butt. You're doing great. All right, let's schedule to follow up.